G'day, I'm Paul. So the SUV segment in Australia is booming. In fact, SUVs are booming like everywhere around the world, but medium SUVs in particular are going absolutely bonkers. And one of the better sellers in the segment here in Australia is the Mazda CX-5. It's been around for a little while now, but they've just slowly iterated on it to improve it, and I think this is probably the best it's ever been. This one here is a mid-spec. It's called the G25 Touring. This is the all-wheel drive version. This is priced at a little under $45,000. But if that is too expensive, the entire range kicks off at just under 37 grand. This competes with things like Toyota RAV4, Hyundai Tucson, Honda CR-V, that sort of vehicle. Today we're going to do a detailed review of this car, so if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you can use the time codes that are on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you can find out every single time we review a bestseller. So let's talk about design. Your metallic paint is going to cost you a little under $800. Soul red, it's like a signature Mazda color. I think it still looks really nice, and CX-5 itself still looks really nice as well. It's not an enormous vehicle. Some of the SUVs in this segment are starting to get bigger and bigger, especially the ones that offer 7 seats. This is only available as a 5-seater, but you can see the proportions of it are slightly more compact. So we'll see if that translates to leg room and stuff like that in the second row as well. On the design front though, you've got chrome highlights down here, a big old grille there with some piano black on it, massive Mazda logo there as well. There's a bit of matte coloured plastic down the bottom here as well. Full LED headlights with LED indicators and LED daytime running lights as well. Around the side here, you've got a bit of wheel arch cladding as well. This is an all-wheel drive, but sort of, not really a rock hopper. It'll just do your basic sort of off-road driving. There's ground clearance of around 200 millimeters, so it's not terrible in terms of what you can do, but obviously not enough to be climbing Everest and all that sort of stuff. 19-inch alloy wheels, decent profile rubber there as well. So typically Mazdas ride pretty well, so I'll be keen to see whether that is still the case here with CX-5. You've got an indicator built into the wing mirror, no 360 camera on this grade. Now around the back here, you've got full LED tail lights, Sky Active G, so number of different versions here. So you've got entry level 2 litre, you've got the and that's naturally aspirated. Naturally aspirated 2.5, which is what this is, that's G25. Then G35 is your turbocharged petrol engine, which you have to spend a little bit more for. Mazda logo up the top there, and then CX-5 and all-wheel drive badge, shark fin aerial up the top there as well. So let me know what you reckon about the design of this. Do you think it's aged well? I think it has. Let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. So we are inside the CX-5. We'll start off with the key. There it is. You've got the Mazda logo. Then off on the side there, you've got lock and unlock. It's a proximity sensing key, so you can leave that in your pocket. Grab the door handle and away you go. Now, let's talk about this interior. So this has sort of gradually evolved over time, but to me, it still looks really nice. Like, they've just gone to a bit of effort here to have this stitching here, the soft materials along the top there. A lot of these rubberized surfaces as well. Makes the car look and feel quite premium, and I think that's something that Mazda does really well. Even this brushed sort of aluminium look along here too, it just sort of has a nice sort of vibe to it. Not a huge fan of the piano black though, so that's under this sort of section here, but thankfully it is just limited to that little part just there. Big infotainment system as well, so this is probably one of the standout items here inside the cabin, because it really does bring a lot of great functionality to the vehicle, and something they've stayed on top of. So I'll run through that shortly. In terms of your touch points, nice and soft there in the middle, and soft on the door as well. How soft are they? We've got our durometer. Tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, have a look at the link in the description below. Now, build quality. What is it like? Well, a tiny bit wonky there. It all feels really nice and solid. It's what our door slam sounds like. I'm curious as well, do you own one of these? What's it been like as a long-term sort of reliability thing? I'm keen for your feedback. Let me know down there. Now, let's talk infotainment. So I mentioned earlier, sort of centerpiece to the cabin. It's a 10.25-inch display. Now, it does look like a touchscreen, but it kind of is and kind of isn't. So right now, it's not a touchscreen. You have to use this central controller here that scrolls up and down and then goes left and right as well. But it does become a touchscreen when you look at smartphone mirroring, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. In terms of the features you're getting here, so you have inbuilt satellite navigation. system actually works quite well. Nice and sharp, very quick and easy to use. You've got AM, FM and DAB digital radio, 6-speaker sound system. Sound system's okay, sort of nothing sort of too crush hot. You can get Bose branded sound system in the higher spec grades. Smartphone mirroring. So you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I really do like that they've added this feature over here now. So what you can actually do is just push down using this and it will take you straight to your smartphone mirroring. So it actually works really well. Big full screen integration there too. This is, and wireless as well, and this is what Android Auto looks like. There it is there, nice. Full screen as well, very good. Now, head of the driver, you've also got a small display, so it's a 7-inch display. It's pretty basic. It's got basically like a digital speedometer, and there is a little bit of customization there, but really nothing too crazy. And while Mazda does have like full displays in some of their cars, it looks like here with the CX-5, they've sort of just kept it to this setup with digital screen and analog gauges. And then on the safety front, you have autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. You've got an auto-dimming rear vision mirror. You've got a blind spot monitor built into the wing mirror there. You have radar cruise control as well. Now, on the parking front, you have a reverse view camera with front and rear parking sensors. I'll show you what the quality of that looks like. There it is there. So quality is actually not too bad. So I can clearly see what's written there on the suitcase, which is definitely good news. That's what the horn sounds like. Let's chat practicality and we'll talk connectivity first. So you've got a 12-volt outlet down here. You've got 2 USB-C ports and another 12-volt outlet in there. You've got a wireless phone charger down here as well to keep things nice and fresh. In terms of your coffee cup storage, look at that, fits in nicely. Doesn't get de-lidded, so they've thought of everyone there. Big bottle, does it fit in the door? Fits in perfectly. Other storage, so you've got this section here, you've got a little removable coin tray, reasonably sized center console there. And then you've got a glove box down here as well that is pretty reasonably sized, and a sunglasses holder up the top. Now, what about your comfort? So you have dual zone automatic climate control up the front here. In terms of the seats, it has Mazda, which is like a faux leather material. Nice and comfy. I actually always find Mazda seats really comfy. Manual adjustment for both the driver and front passenger, and then steering offers both tilt and reach adjustment. And on the reach test, it kind of makes sense that this doesn't work while the car's moving because you do have to lean in to touch any of that, whereas this is all pretty straightforward and easy to reach while you're driving. Now, second row. Look, knee room's not too bad, toe room's fantastic, and headroom is pretty good. Despite the size of the vehicle, you look at it from the outside and you think that it's not enormous, but it doesn't really feel overly cramped inside. Like you would expect this to be much more cramped than it is, but it's actually not too bad. So you've got air vents down here, you've got a center armrest in here, you've got 2 cup holders there, and then you've also got some USB charging in here as well to keep your devices plump and running. You've got ISOFIX points on the outboard seats with 3 top tether points. And what about our window test? Look at that, auto up and down. Oh, so close. So, cargo space, what is it like here? Look, it is a little down on its competitors. So you've got just under 450 litres to work with here. It is still a reasonably sized space, but it will be just a little bit smaller than some of the bigger vehicles in the segment. Beneath the cargo floor, you're going to find a space saver spare tyre. I'll show you what it looks like with our bags in there. So, laptop bag there, up you hop. And then suitcase just there. So it all sort of fits in okay. Then off to the side here, you've got a 12-volt outlet, and then you've got release levers here for the second row, which is great. Means you don't need to lean in there to try and pull them down. So give that a little yank, drops that side. You can also drop the middle as well, which is great. And then you could almost drop that side. That expands the space to a little under 1,400 litres. Okay, we've just hit the road in the CX-5 G25 Touring. I love the names they come up with. Now, being the naturally aspirated one, there is actually one beneath this, a 2-litre. Then it steps up to the 2.5, and then finally you have the 2.5 turbo. So this is the mid-spec engine that you can get, but you do have the versatility of an all-wheel drive system, which helps if you're going to like a light off-roading thing, like going camping or something like that with the kids. This will sort of sort you out for all that stuff. Now, what is powering this? So 2.5 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder petrol engine. So it makes 140 kilowatts of power and just over 250 Newton meters of torque. Now it's not a huge amount, but given the size of the CX-5, it isn't overly gargantuan, and it means that it's enough to get it moving. So we'll give it a little stab here. Yeah, once it gets in its torque band, it sort of pushes itself along nicely. It's all mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission, and the transmission's actually pretty nice and snappy, so it's ready to move when you need it to go. You've got paddle shifters here on the steering wheel as well, just to keep everything in action too. Now, what about your fuel economy? So Mazda claims a combined fuel economy of 7.4 litres per 100 Ks. We're sitting on 9.1, so it's a bit of a stretch from that 7 figure, and that was with a good little mix of highway driving as well. So it is fairly thirsty. Being an all-wheel drive doesn't really help, but this is one of those systems that is able to selectively send torque between axles, and it means that it's not a permanent full-time four-wheel drive that's constantly bound between the front and rear axles. It has that sort of ability to alleviate itself to increase your fuel economy, but it seems doesn't really work all that well in the grand scheme of things. But what happens when you pick up the speed a little bit? Let's get this up to 130, which is maximum speed limit in Australia. We test all the cars that we evaluate at the same speed over our sine waves here, just to give us an idea of what body control is like on a consecutive set of bumps on a freeway or something. Yeah, look, it is a little bit floaty there. It sort of has the peaks that sit up quite high, but at the end of the day, it's really not too bad. Let's go to our bumpy road. This is a horror show of a road. We do this at 90 k's an hour, and it just gives us a good indication of what the ride is like on a choppy stretch of country road filled with cobblestones, potholes, corrugations. Yeah, it is cruising along here very nicely. Okay, here comes our condensed sine wave. Yeah, nice, it's handling that beautifully. Excellent, good job, Mazda. Now let's talk about drive modes. You've got a little drive selector here. You've got sport, normal and off-road. Let's give sport mode a crack around our track here. Like I said before, we test all cars back to back in the same way to see how they feel. A little bit of floatiness through there. Brake pedal feel isn't fantastic either. It's a fairly eager engine. Like it makes a lot of noise, but it gets up and moves. It feels definitely punchier than the entry-level 2 litre, but not quite as eager as the turbo petrol. I think we've been kind of spoilt with that, having tested that the last couple of times, but this is still sort of getting along nicely. And with the softness, it means that it is fairly predictable with where you place it. Steering feels nice. Yeah, so look, I mean, it is probably on the floatier side of these SUVs, and it doesn't quite feel as sporty as the turbocharged petrol models, but you know, if you do find yourself on a twisty set of roads, it's probably going to put a bit of a smile on your face. Now let's talk road noise. It is sort of fairly quiet out on the road. It does have a little bit of noise that comes into the cabin, but it used to be worse. So the CX-5 and the Mazda 3 used to be quite boomy inside the cabin, but they have really dialed that back a bit. So you'd only sort of notice it in a great deal when you're on a coarse chip country road surface. That's when it really starts entering into the cabin. And in terms of the ride, it's just typical Mazda, nice and soft and gentle, not overly sporty, not overly too soft. It's just a nice in between. It's very Toyota-like in the way that it rides, and that's what I really like about driving Mazda products. They're very predictable in that sense. Let's talk about visibility. So I can see clearly down the front of the car there. The wing mirrors are nice and big. Got a head-up display as well. Visibility at the back is good too. And then you've got front and rear parking sensors to keep you touch-free inside the city. Now you can actually tow with the CX-5 as well. 1,800 kilos with a brake trailer. So that's not too bad. And you've got a turning circle at 11 meters. Okay, it is time to do a bit of performance testing. I wanted to tell you about Help Me CarExpert. If you are in the market for a new CX-5, go to Google, type in Help Me CarExpert. We can connect you with one of our concierge team based in Australia, and they will hook you up with one of our friendly dealers to get you a good deal. You can also visit our website as well. We've got comparisons and other sort of fun things on there too. So now let's see how quick the CX-5 is from 0 to 100 and then on to 120 k's an hour as well. So here we go. Okay. There's 80. There's 100. And there's 120. Come to a stop out on our access road. Took a fair while to get there. Okay, let's have a little look here. So 0 to 100, 9.74 seconds. So took a little bit of time to get there. 80 to 120, 6.77 seconds. So again, took a little while to get there. So yeah, I think if the speed thing is a problem for you, or you need just that little bit of extra pep, I'd definitely be looking at the 2.5 litre turbo. It is transformational in terms of the way this vehicle feels behind the wheel. Okay, it's time to do a stop from 100 so we can see what the brake and tyre package is like. And there's 100. Pretty strong from where I'm sitting. So 100 to 0, 3.06 seconds and 41.77 metres. So good, but not amazing. You want to see a figure sort of in the 30 metre range, but it's just in the 40s there, so it's okay, but could be slightly better. And now, how quick does it go in reverse? Let's have a little look. There you go, 38 kilometres an hour. Okay, so Mazda CX-5. I'm going to start by saying the CX-5 itself is still a great car. Lots of room inside. It's good for the family that doesn't want this enormous vehicle, but I would just be forking out a little bit extra for the G25, so the turbocharged 2.5 litre petrol. Just has that little bit of extra pep that you need, and this, although it's better than the 2 litre, I just think it still feels like it's just a little bit underdone. So trust me, you will thank me later, just spend a little bit extra on the 2.5 litre turbo. So let me know what you reckon. Have you bought a CX-5? What is it like to live with longer term? I'm always keen to hear from people. Let me know in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, drive safely.